Have you ever wondered why you married the person you did? Why some marriages feel warm while others are full of struggle? Why deep love sometimes repeats the same old pain? Welcome back to Son.Mindfulness. I am so glad to sit with you today. Stay with us until the end of this video. Many families feel lost in repeating conflicts. Many questions remain unanswered. Is it just fate, or is there something deeper? Buddhism offers us another way to look. Marriage reflects the karma and blessings we carry every day. What we plant is what we harvest in our own home. This video will help you see the roots. You will learn how to nurture lasting blessings. You will discover how to release the past and find peace. At Son.Mindfulness, we share practical Buddhist wisdom for daily life. We tell stories in ways you can apply right away. If this speaks to you, please subscribe and support the channel. May you be healthy and peaceful. May you be happy and always blessed. Your presence here is an honor to us. Now let us step into the main content. Are you ready to explore why you married the person you did? Let us begin this journey of reflection and transformation together. Part 1. Karma and Blessings in Marriage. You reap what you sow. My dear friends, have you ever wondered, why do some people enter marriage and find joy and support, while others struggle through heavy, tiring days? Why does the same thing we call love blossom beautifully for some, yet wither painfully for others? Many people will say, that's fate, or that's luck. But the Buddha taught, nothing happens by accident. Everything is shaped by causes, conditions, and the karma we have planted. Marriage may seem like a personal decision in this life, but in truth it is the fruit of many seeds, good and bad, sown long before, even across lifetimes. Imagine this with me. Every thought, every word, every action we take is like a seed dropped into the vast garden of the universe. Some seeds are of love, some are of anger, some are of patience, some are of selfishness. Over time, these seeds sprout, grow, and finally bear fruit. When we meet a life partner, that love did not simply begin at first sight. It was nourished by countless seeds planted in the past. An older Buddhist once came to the temple and asked me, "Teacher, my husband is so hot-tempered, but I am grateful because I have learned patience through him. Is this karma too?" I smiled and said, "Yes, but it is not a sentence. It is an opportunity. If we know how to transform it, then even hardship can become a blessing." Modern psychology gives a similar explanation. Experts say we often unconsciously choose partners who mirror the lessons we have yet to resolve. If as a child we never felt truly heard, as adults we may be drawn to someone who is distant. If deep inside we have not forgiven betrayal, we may attract a relationship that tests our trust. In Buddhist language, this is karma, unfinished energy returning so that we may finally learn the lesson. Have you ever felt this yourself? Fallen in love with someone who seemed strangely familiar, as though you had known them long before? Or entered a relationship that repeats the same pain again and again? When we realize it is not random, we begin to complain less, blame less, and instead ask, what is this karma here to teach me? Alongside karma, there is another powerful energy, blessing. Blessing is like sunlight nourishing the seeds in our lives. When we practice compassion, live honestly, and help others, we accumulate blessings, and in time those blessings return to us as a loving partner, a supportive home, a safe place to rest. I often remind students, do not only pray to meet a good person. Ask yourself, what seeds am I planting? If we plant seeds of kindness and empathy each day, marriage becomes the fertile ground where they bloom. If we plant seeds of anger and selfishness, marriage too will reflect those fruits. You see, marriage is not a game of chance. It is not a lottery ticket. It is a mirror of cause and effect. So instead of asking, did I marry the right person? A deeper question is, what am I planting in myself to help us grow together? Part 2. Karma's Influence on Marriage. bonds, debts, and healing. Have you ever met someone and felt an instant familiarity, as if you had known them long ago, even though it was your first meeting? Sometimes that bond grows quickly into closeness. Other times, that same familiarity draws you into a challenging relationship. In Buddhist teaching, this is called karmic connection. It may be an old debt, a thread from the past, still unfolding in the present. Your current spouse is rarely a complete stranger. They may once have been your parent, your sibling, or even a rival in past lives. Unfinished bonds of love, gratitude, or pain flow like a river. If unresolved, that river continues to this life, bringing two people together to relearn the lessons left undone. I remember a story from an elderly Buddhist woman. She said, "My husband and I love each other deeply, but in 30 years of marriage, we have argued constantly. Many times I wanted to leave, yet something held me back. It felt like an invisible tie I could not cut. I listened and simply smiled. That is shared karma, not a punishment, but an opportunity for healing." In marriage, karma often appears as repeating cycles. Some couples fight about the same issue over and over. Promises are made, apologies given, yet the same wounds reopen. This is not because they lack love, but because the karmic lesson has not yet been seen and released. Like an old wound left unhealed, every touch reopens the pain, reminding us it must be healed. Psychology offers a parallel view. Researchers note that we often attract relationships that reflect our unhealed childhood wounds. Those abandoned may choose distant partners. Those once betrayed may find themselves in jealous, distrustful unions. Buddhism calls these patterns karma. They bring us back to the very place we need to face the lessons we once avoided. Imagine this. In a past life, someone harmed their partner through neglect or betrayal. In this life, the two meet again. Not to repeat the suffering, but to look directly into that pain and heal it. If they avoid it, the cycle will return. If they face it with mindfulness, healing begins and freedom becomes possible. The Buddha taught, karma is not a fixed sentence. Karma is the chance to transform. So when marriage feels difficult, do not rush to think, "I married the wrong person." It may be that you married the right person, the one who carries your most important lesson. History gives us an example in King Ashoka of India. He began as a fierce ruler causing immense suffering. Only after witnessing the pain of his actions did he return to compassion and devote himself to the Dharma. His heavy karma did not vanish overnight, but with awareness, he transformed it and became remembered as a compassionate king. Marriage, too, offers that same path. When we awaken, hardship becomes the way to growth. Have you ever felt caught in the same cycle with your spouse? If so, ask yourself, what lesson is this trying to teach me? What pain must I face and release? Only by recognizing and accepting do we open the door to healing for both. You see, karma in marriage does not exist to end love. It exists to mature love. Every storm between two people is an invitation to listen, to understand, to forgive. When we dare to walk through that process, karma is no longer a chain. It becomes a bridge, leading us and our partner toward freedom and perhaps toward the most genuine love of all. Part 3. The role of blessings in marriage. When love becomes the foundation. My dear friends, when people speak of marriage, many focus only on the struggles caused by karma. But if we see only the darkness, we forget that blessings are also present. Blessings are like the nutrients that nourish a garden. If karma is the soil holding old seeds, then blessings are the sunlight, the rain, and the clear streams that allow good seeds to sprout and bloom. Think back in your own life. Have you ever met someone gentle and kind, and just being near them made your heart feel calmer? That is the radiance of blessing. And in marriage, this energy has great power. I once witnessed an elderly couple. They were neither wealthy nor powerful, yet everyone who saw them noticed their quiet happiness. Every morning, the husband poured his wife a cup of tea. Every evening, the wife waited for him to return home for dinner. Though the meal was often just a few simple dishes, they never raised their voices, but every glance, every gesture carried deep respect. When asked their secret, they simply smiled. We are always grateful for each other, and we never forget to say thank you. You see, blessing is not something lofty. It is the small acts of kindness and gratitude built up quietly over the years. Marriage researchers in America have found that couples who regularly express gratitude and respect have much lower divorce rates than couples who mainly focus on criticism and complaint. In other words, science today confirms what the Buddha taught more than 20,500 years ago. Blessings are the glue that holds a marriage together. But blessings do not appear by accident. They are cultivated by the way we live each day. When we practice patience, we are planting blessing. When we truly listen, we are planting blessing. When we forgive small faults instead of holding on to them, we are planting blessing. Each of these small seeds, over time, creates a garden of peace for both partners to rest in. But imagine when one partner nurtures blessings while the other lives only in selfishness and greed. At first, love may cover the imbalance, but slowly the giver becomes weary, and the flow of blessings begins to dry. Blessing is meant to be a two-way stream. When one side stops flowing, the river of love runs low. Picture this instead: a family where both husband and wife make a habit of kind words. They do not wait for great occasions to show gratitude. They show it in small ways: a warm meal, a clean shirt, a hug at the end of the day. In that home, the atmosphere is light and warm. Children raised there learn love and gratitude early. Blessings in marriage ripple outward to the next generation. Now imagine a household filled with tension. The husband constantly criticizes, the wife endlessly complains. They may have plenty of material wealth, but the blessings between them are gone. The children growing up there may carry anger and impatience, creating new karma in their future relationships. Blessing and karma never stay with just one person. They spread outward, shaping families and communities. The Buddha once taught, "Plant the seeds of love and you will harvest peace." In marriage, those seeds are blessings. Every day, you and your partner can choose to plant another seed of kindness, or to let the weeds of anger grow instead. What you choose will be reflected in the harvest. So ask yourself, do you want your marriage to become a fragrant garden or a field of weeds? The answer lies in the small choices you make today. Blessings are not miracles from outside. They are habits, decisions, and acts of love we plant every day. Part 4: 3 main causes of unhappy marriages. My dear friends, many people enter marriage believing, if we love each other enough, we will surely be happy. But reality often unfolds differently. Some marriages begin in passion and joy, yet within a few years become filled with tension, even ending in divorce. So what turns love into pain? In the light of Buddhism, there are 3 main causes: karmic debts from the past, a lack of blessings, and the heavy weight of unresolved emotions. The first is karmic debt from the past. A karmic debt is like a loan at a bank, but instead of money, it is love owed, pain carried, or bonds unfinished from past lives. If someone once harmed their partner through neglect, betrayal, or cruelty, they may meet again in this life, not to continue suffering, but to face those wounds and learn forgiveness. I recall a woman who once confided, "I always feel my husband will betray me, even though he has never done anything wrong. Inside, I live with constant fear and doubt." Through deep reflection, she realized this fear was not born in the present moment, but might have been carried from another life, when she had been betrayed. When she understood this, she began to let go of suspicion, to open her heart more fully, and slowly her marriage became lighter. You see, karmic debt is not a sentence. It is an opportunity to learn and release. The second cause is a lack of blessings. Imagine one partner enters marriage with an open heart, but the other lives only with selfishness and calculation. Those with little blessing often end up in families of discord. It is like a tree planted in dry soil. Without water, it cannot bloom. In marriage, blessings are like flowing water. Without them, love will dry and wither. I once met a young couple. The wife was attentive and caring, but the husband was consumed with work and ignored his family. When asked, he said, "I earn money, that should be enough." But money cannot replace blessings. Over time, the imbalance drained them both, and their marriage began to crack. Blessings must be cultivated together. If one only gives while the other only takes, both will eventually be exhausted. The third cause is the burden of unresolved emotions. Many people enter marriage carrying baggage from the past: betrayal, heartbreak, anger. These burdens are like a backpack full of stones, heavy on the shoulders. They do not realize that every outburst of anger, every moment of suspicion or withdrawal is the past seeping into the present. Picture someone scarred by a painful breakup. If they never forgive or release it, that shadow follows them into a new marriage. They become suspicious, fearful, and without meaning to, push their partner away. Only when they lay down the burden can they open their heart to love again. History too gives us lessons. Alexander the Great was a mighty conqueror, yet in his private life, he was filled with discord. His ambition and pride, inner burdens left unresolved, kept him from peace within his family. This reminds us that outer success can never replace inner blessings or the ability to let go. My dear friends, these three causes, karmic debt, lack of blessings, and heavy burdens, are like stones on the path. If we do not see them, we stumble. But once we recognize them, we can step around and the way ahead becomes clearer. So instead of asking, "Why is my marriage so painful?" ask, "What debt must I release? What blessing must I cultivate? What burden must I put down so I can walk lighter?" When we dare to ask in this way, the door to healing begins to open. Part 5. How to attract blessings and transform relationships. My dear friends, when it comes to marriage, many people often wish, "If only I could find the perfect partner, loving, patient, a good listener, and always by my side." But the more important question is, have I become that kind of person myself? The Buddha taught that the world runs by the law of cause and effect. The energy you carry within you will determine what you attract. If your heart is full of love, patience, and compassion, you will naturally draw people with the same energy. But if you carry bitterness, blame, or selfishness, then the people you meet will often mirror those qualities back to you. I remember a story of a young Buddhist who came to me. He said, "I keep meeting people who don't value me. Why is that, teacher?" I asked him, "Do you truly value yourself? Are you patient and kind with yourself?" After a moment of silence, he broke into tears. He realized he had long lived in self-criticism and self-doubt, and that very energy attracted others who did not value him either. When he began to learn to love himself, his marriage later in life changed completely. This is the first step to attract blessings. Become the person you want to meet. If you want a faithful partner, live faithfully in all your relationships. In friendship, in family, in work. If you long for someone who listens deeply, practice listening with your whole heart. If you want gentleness, practice gentle words. Your inner energy is an invisible invitation sent out to the universe. The second step is to release the burden of past emotions. Many people cannot open fully in marriage because they carry wounds from broken promises or past loves. These unhealed emotions are like shadows, slipping between two people and suffocating love. Think of Nelson Mandela. After 27 years in prison, he had every reason to hold on to hatred. But he chose forgiveness. That act of forgiveness opened the door to unity for an entire nation. The same principle applies in marriage. If you hold on to old bitterness, you push your partner away. Forgiveness does not mean you accept what was wrong. It means you set yourself free. The third step is to live in alignment with love and compassion. You may ask, how can my marriage last? The answer is not in grand gestures, but in small daily actions repeated over and over. A thank you for a simple glass of water. A hug when your partner is weary. A tender look instead of harsh words. These small acts are the drops of water that keep the tree of love alive and flourishing. Picture a woman who decides to practice compassion in her daily life. She begins by listening to her friends, being patient with her children, and gentle with herself. Soon, she notices her husband changing too. He becomes more attentive, less angry. Her positive energy spreads like warm sunlight melting the ice in his heart. Science confirms this as well. Studies on the ripple effect show that when one person maintains positive energy, others around them are more likely to shift positively too. In marriage, it only takes one person to start. That wave can carry both partners toward growth. My dear friends, attracting blessings and transforming relationships is not about waiting for luck. It is a daily conscious process. Become the person you want to meet. Lay down the burdens of the past. Plant seeds of love in the smallest actions. When you do, you will see that marriage is no longer a battlefield, but a journey of growth together. Part 6. Difficult marriages as opportunities for spiritual growth. My dear friends, we often long for a marriage that is calm, where everything flows smoothly, without storms, without quarrels. But the truth is, most marriages face difficult seasons. Some sigh and say, if it is this painful, I must have married the wrong person. Yet in the light of the Dharma, a difficult marriage is not the end. It may in fact be the very opportunity for spiritual growth. Do you remember the story of Queen Elizabeth I? She was one of England's greatest monarchs, successful in leading her country, yet her personal life was full of trials. She chose not to marry, and in that absence she found a mirror that taught her lessons of independence and the balance between duty and personal longing. Her struggles became the ground where she learned to lead with strength, not only by leaning on romantic love. The same is true in our marriages. Challenges are not here simply to drain us. They come to teach us essential lessons: patience, forgiveness, self-respect, and the ability to love ourselves. I recall one woman sharing, "I married a man who was so distant. For years, I felt abandoned. But through practice, I came to see this as a chance to learn to stand on my own, to love myself more deeply. I no longer wait for him to change before I can be happy. I choose to cultivate happiness from within." You see, difficulty is not always a dead end. Sometimes it is the very turn that brings us back to ourselves. Psychology agrees with this truth. Marriage therapists often say that every conflict is an opportunity for personal growth. If we look at the roots of our emotions, we learn to adjust, mature, and grow stronger. If we only blame, we remain trapped in the same cycle. So let me ask you, each time you argue with your spouse, do you notice the same emotions repeating? Perhaps the feeling of being abandoned, disrespected, or unheard. These emotions act like mirrors, showing us the wounds inside that still need healing. If we are brave enough to face them, marriage itself becomes a place of practice. One man once told me, "My wife and I argue constantly. I thought our marriage was a failure, but when I began to meditate and reflect, I realized those arguments taught me patience. I used to be quick-tempered. Now I pause, breathe, and only then speak." He came to see that his marriage had not made him fail, it had made him grow. In Buddhist teaching, every difficulty can become a doorway to awakening. A distant husband teaches us how to set healthy boundaries. A critical wife teaches us how to listen more deeply. A stormy marriage can teach us to let go of expectations and to find peace within ourselves. Have you ever felt that in the very moment you thought you would collapse, you instead learned the most important lesson? If so, you know that a difficult marriage does not come to destroy you. It comes to remake you, to help you emerge stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. So instead of asking, "Why is my marriage so hard?" try asking, "What is this difficulty teaching me? What lesson must I learn to grow?" That question can transform suffering into opportunity. And once you learn the lesson, you not only save your marriage, you also nourish the peace within yourself. Part 7. Marriage as a mirror of the inner self. You reap what you sow. My dear friends, when we speak of marriage, many people believe happiness or suffering comes only from their partner. We often say, "If my husband would change, I would suffer less." Or, "If my wife cared more, I would finally be happy." But the Buddha taught that life unfolds through cause and effect. And marriage, more than any other bond, is a mirror of our inner life. When our hearts hold love, patience, and peace, the mirror of marriage reflects those qualities back. When our hearts are filled with anger, suspicion, or selfishness, the mirror shows us exactly that. Have you ever felt this yourself? When you are calm and lighthearted, suddenly your spouse seems gentler, easier to be with. But when you are tired and irritated, a single word can spark an argument. I remember an elderly Buddhist once shared with me, "For years I thought my husband was the cause of my suffering. But when I began practicing at the temple, I realized much of the pain came from my own unrest. When I began meditating and breathing mindfully, the very words that once hurt me no longer cut so deep. My husband had not changed, but my heart had." That is the proof that marriage is a mirror. Modern psychology speaks of something similar: emotional mirroring. It teaches that people unconsciously reflect each other's energy. If one person carries tension, the other often absorbs and reacts. If one stays calm, the other more easily settles down. In marriage, this process is even stronger. So instead of waiting for your partner to change, begin by changing the energy you bring into the relationship. Imagine this: a husband comes home exhausted after a long day. If his wife greets him with, "You're late again," the air becomes tense immediately. But if she simply says, "You look tired, let me get you some water," the whole atmosphere shifts. You see the same event, but the mirror of marriage reflects differently depending on the energy we bring to it. This reminds us of a powerful truth. We cannot choose the mirror, but we can choose the image we cast into it. If we plant seeds of love, marriage reflects love. If we plant seeds of anger, marriage reflects anger. What we sow is what we reap, always. So I invite you to ask yourself, what seeds am I planting each day in my marriage? Am I sowing empathy, gratitude, and listening? Or am I sowing complaint, blame, and cold silence? The answer to that question decides the quality of your marriage. One woman once told me, "I no longer demand my husband be perfect. I focus on my part. One kind word a day, one small joy each day. And the result is not only a better marriage, but also a lighter, more peaceful heart." That is the power of planting the right seeds. My dear friends, marriage is not a place to demand the other person change. It is a place to learn how to look within ourselves. When we change the way we plant seeds, the mirror of marriage changes. There will be fewer storms and more joy. And most importantly, we realize happiness never comes from outside. It always begins within our own hearts. Conclusion. My dear friends, we have traveled a long journey together today. We have looked deeply at karma and blessings in marriage. We have seen karmic bonds, opportunities for healing, and the role of blessings. We have understood why some marriages flourish while others carry much suffering. We have learned how to plant seeds of blessing, let go of the past, and practice mindfulness. And we have seen that marriage is a mirror of the inner self. The core message is very clear. Happiness in marriage is not a matter of luck. It is the result of what we plant. If we plant love, we harvest love. If we plant anger, we harvest anger. Do you see this truth reflected in your own life? I want to congratulate you, because you have listened with patience, reflected deeply, and discovered valuable lessons. That alone is already a step of transformation. Not everyone has the patience to stay until the very end, but you have done it. Now, the important question is this: what will you practice in your daily life? Will you plant more seeds of love? Will you practice forgiveness, gratitude, and patience each day? Try just one small thing: a word of thanks, a gentle smile, a mindful breath. You will see change begin to blossom in your own family. I am truly grateful for your presence here. Grateful that you gave your precious time to listen. Grateful that you opened your heart to receive these teachings. And grateful that you are joining me in planting seeds of peace in the world. If you found this video helpful, I invite you to subscribe and continue following Son.Mindfulness. Your support is a great source of encouragement. Please also share your thoughts in the comments. What lesson have you drawn for your own marriage? What small practice would you like to try this week? Write it down so we can learn together. May you and your family always be healthy. May you live in peace, happiness, and good fortune on your journey. With heartfelt gratitude, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next video. Thank you.